Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are today looking at Resorting to Danger, the second Nancy Drew Dossier game, which the Nancy Drew Dossier series apparently came out after about a dozen of the original Nancy Drew games came out for PC, and I guess they wanted to shake things up. They made 3 games, they weren't received that well, and then they moved on and back to making the other games. Unfortunately, I did not do enough research to figure out that that's what was going on, so I thought that these games were the first 3 games in the series, since these games looked completely different in their thumbnails than all the other games on Steam. And so that's what I've ended up with. I've already purchased the games, I might as well play them, and we'll try to have as much fun with them as possible. Now, that's a terrible way to start any series, certainly, but that is the case. It goes right into a cutscene, so we'll have to see if we can jump this to widescreen or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it maintains a 4:3 ratio, and I imagine the game is going to be fairly linear and just kind of a point and click hidden object style game. But it does have the Nancy Drew name behind it, and that should be something. And I think it also probably would have voice acting. Let's find out. So you type in your name, and then it just immediately starts. Well, profile already existed because I tried to type in my name and set up the settings first, but it didn't happen. So, yeah. Pretty much in the Nancy Drew universe, I think it is still a murder almost always happens, and then Nancy Drew solves it as a precocious teenage detective. This is a different animation from what I recall in Lights, Camera, Action, which was the
An
first
explosive
game.
situation has arisen at the Redondo, a secluded resort where the rich and famous go to be beautified and indulged in total privacy. Someone there has been planting bombs, and although so far they've done relatively little harm, and the manager of the resort has fooled people into thinking they're just construction accidents, I've been charged with finding out what's really going on. When she heard where I was going, my good friend George Fain insisted I bring along her latest invention, a handheld bomb-sniffing device. It's never been tested in the field, but it's designed to detect components
Interesting, the
commonly
audio
used in
skip there.
detonators, and she's almost positive it will work. I'm not crazy about the almost part, but it's got to be better than nothing, right?
See, that's
and
some
as my
really
other good
rough
friend Bess
animation.
Marvin was quick to point out, the thing practically fits in my purse. So now that I'm pretty much prepared for anything, looks like I'm off to the Redondo.
And see, totally that looks like a cell phone, and even this would have been 2009.
Welcome to the Redondo. You must be Nancy Drew. I'm Cassidy Jones. Mr. Blesky is waiting for you in there. You can go right in. On second thought, why don't you help me get organized around here? It'll help you get the hang of things.
I can do that, sure.
It's interesting. Subtitles are on by default. And we've got 3D models, so there is a big jump in ambition, certainly compared to Lights, Camera, Action, which I don't really feel like had anything more than maybe a few frames per second animations. Welcome to Redondo. This tutorial will show you what you as a detective will need to do to solve cases. Can we pop up the menu quickly? And let's see. So we could go with full screen stretch. That did not change it. Let's see. Look here on the edges, and we'll look here on the edges here. Guess we could try and go windowed mode, but I bet that wouldn't change anything otherwise. And then see if I can maybe just turn down the audio a little bit. I bet that's not going to work at all. Doing that. Sparkle sound effect. Okay. So I'll just, you know what, open up the volume mixer. I've just made some changes. And we'll get that down to about 5 instead of 10, and we'll see how that sounds. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. Okay, so 4:3 ratio is all you're gonna get. It's old, what can we say? There's a lot to Nancy Drew, I think, that's old-fashioned. Same would be true with the Hardy Boys. And you would probably just reboot the whole series if you were going to try and do mystery novels for your preteens and teens with new characters. Although the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys name probably sells fairly well, you probably wouldn't even want a character named Nancy. That's such an old-fashioned name these days. But yeah, somebody handing you a bomb-sniffing device that looks like a cell phone. There is, seemingly for Nancy Drew, a case where she has more female friends, and that, like, gender segregation, that doesn't really happen nowadays, hopefully, as much. I definitely remember when I was a kid many years ago, there was totally a lot of that where boys would play with boys and girls would play with girls. I think there's less of that happening these days, and so it would be nice to potentially see more friends in general and more characters, reoccurring characters between the Nancy Drew characters, things. Now, I'm no expert on Nancy Drew too, so there's a lot of stuff that'll just go over my head as far as her personality and her established character in previous books or other media. There was a movie that they tried to make, I'd say about 5 years ago, with rebooting Nancy Drew and making her sort of naive and like sheltered, and then coming to LA and solving a murder and realizing that there's a little bit more dirt and grime amongst the LA kids. Let's hop into the game though. We don't have any reason to really delay this. It is interesting that you have an animation here. In each area you need to do 2 things. Find important objects, click on pairs of objects to use them together in some way. To find important objects, move your cursor around the room until sparkles appear. So that pretty much is just what they want you to do, is pixel hunt for important objects, which there's plenty of eye-catching important objects in this room. For instance, try moving your cursor over the flowers and then click when you see sparkles. Now that the flowers are selected, you can pair them with another item in the room. How about this empty vase? Try clicking there. Vase was the correct match. Throughout the game, you will continue pairing up items that can be used together. All you have to do is select both items in succession. Okay. And that gave us 100 score. Seems like you also have some point and click adventure style abilities, which oddly press/pull is a little weird, but then scratch is particularly weird, and turn is fairly weird. These papers should be put away. Click on them. Notice a hint that appeared above the papers when you clicked on them. The hint tells you to look for something, find that object, and click on it. What can I use to file these papers away? Am I supposed to have a box or something? Or a drawer? Oh, there's a brown vanilla envelope here that on top of the brown desk And this is a problem with any point-and-click adventure game or hidden object game. Notice this guy's sneezing like crazy. The color contrast can be a big issue. Great. See the small lens over that folder? That means you're not done using the folder. Why don't you find out where the folder belongs and click on it? I guess it belongs here. Yes, the file drawer makes sense, but first we need to pull the drawer open. Click on the pull icon. It's located here on your action bar. Interesting, you can click that after the fact. Normally in a point-and-click adventure you have to click the action first. Now the drawer is open, you can pair up the drawer with the file folder. Click on the lens to see both items. Good. Now try moving your cursor over this object on the desk. Notice how the cursor changes. Click on that object. I cannot say what that's supposed to represent. This is a magnifier. This looks like some kind of red object, almost like a perfume bottle. The briefcase cursor, oh, I guess that was a briefcase, or maybe it was a purse, and they renamed it to a briefcase. Indicated that the letter opener was an inventory item. As you can see, it's now in your inventory at the bottom of the screen. Okay. Why don't you figure out what you should be paired up with the letter opener? Click on both items. So, there's a letter here. I need to open this envelope if I'm going to read what's in it. You don't need a letter opener to open a letter. Definitely. Now let's see what's here. Now that the envelope is open, move your cursor over it. You notice an eye icon. I guess that's an eye icon on top of a magnifier. Click on the envelope to get an even closer look. Looks like a roster for the Redondo employees. This information could come in handy later when you're done viewing the close-up. Click on the OK tab. And then it's OKAY, which smart catch there to have it just OK versus OKAY. So we can see we're probably going to have about 8 main employee characters. I assume all in 3D versions for part and flat or 2D animated versions for other parts. This would have been one of those games that came out around 2009 or so. I don't remember the exact year, where they were pushing a lot of 3D, particularly for hidden object games and point-and-click adventure games. There's always been, after a certain point, a push to move to 3D, and it has just never really worked and never really been worth it. And I think even now you would be better off making a well animated 2D hand-drawn game than you would making a 3D game. If you're going to have 3D characters, then you need 3D environments, and then you need entire 3D game mechanics, all of which just completely jump in the face of anyone, any kind of point-and-click adventure game. I'm looking here to see if any of the initials are the same, and no, they aren't, but there is a HH and a PP. One more tip, see the number down here? That's how many hidden objects are available in the room. There are 0 at the moment. When more objects become available, the number will flash yellow to alert you. Great job, you're ready to continue on your own. Make sure to start off by finding the task list that Cassidy, the receptionist, has left for you. Good luck. Learn how to play is done. Finish the task list and snoop a little. So if we click here, we could get hints. We don't want hints. If we click here, we can get a more in-your-face repetition of the goal. If we click here, this is the journal. Here's a short tour for which each tab does. This is where you go to read Nancy's notes and take a look at your current evidence. You'll even be able to rewatch movies after you've beat the game. And this is where you should click if you need help figuring out how to play the game. This will send you to the detective ranking screen. The more points you get, the higher your rank. Getting the highest rank earns you special credits after you beat the game. Feel free to click on each of these tabs to explore. Okay. So, we're at chapter 1. We could go to chapter list. We now know that there are a considerable amount of chapters here. 32 chapters? So they're probably counting almost every single room as a chapter. Then journal entries, evidence, and movies. Over here, you have help and we're working towards the ultimate private eye. Rank. This was in the previous game and it really didn't feel like it was much of anything. Although, in all fairness, there was a point in the previous game where it had mini games, and I don't remember if I actually had to be good at the mini games to get to the top rank. All right. General attendance task list. Restock the shelves with product and remove boxes. Dust the lights above the front desk. Don't use glass cleaner. Clean the harmonica display. You'll need the glass cleaner. So put that on shelves and that on shelves. Why we're doing this work for him, I don't know. Seems like it's not my business to. This apparently is the harmonica case. It has some weird pipes behind it.
There's something in that harmonica. I wonder what it is.
Okay. I think part of the problem with these Nancy Drew Dossier games is, well, you've got a voice acting as Nancy Drew. You don't have a face to Nancy Drew because you're looking at him out of her eyes from a first-person perspective. I think you probably would want a third-person perspective for a game like this. And honestly, if you're going to reboot the Nancy Drew series, you probably wouldn't do terrible to hire a young actress to play Nancy Drew. And one of those like Nickelodeon stars, and have them green screen in the game and be the character, or at least have somebody face rec, do facial scanning, not facial recognition, but just facial scanning to have a 3D model of Nancy Drew. Maybe it is smarter to go with the 3D model because any child actor may not want to go on forever as many Nancy Drew games as you might want to make. Plus, they might get a growth spurt at any point. Right, there's something in the harmonica. I need to lift the glass. Which... okay. Pull. Lift. Lift different than pull. Top of the harmonica is screwed on right. You just try to pair up two objects that don't go together. Don't worry, they stay marked on the screen until you find items that go together with each other. Okay. Need a screwdriver. And where would a screwdriver be? So pull that, and then screwdriver, and harmonica. What could this say? I skipped a line of dialogue there. Let's see. Is there actual, like, line for line text? No. Doesn't seem like there is. So, yeah, if you just want to rush through this game, you could definitely rush through this. And it definitely seems like a lot of this dialogue could have been voiced much more like a point-and-click adventure game where a character would just constantly talk to themselves. Like, I personally don't see a lot of appeal of hearing the same music play over and over again instead of having the game just call out my actions and tell me, hey, that's right, that's wrong.
I wonder who this Hippocrates person is.
He was a friend of Socrates if you've played Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis, which I recently just played. Yeah. So, that's odd. I think he might have been the inventor of the Hippocratic Oath, or the idea of being a hypocrite in general, one or the other or both. Should someone other than myself find this, my name is Hippocrates Bell. That's, okay, not the Hippocrates I was thinking of. I have begun to renovate our family home and will store records of my modifications within each area I improve so I can easily track my projects. So certain of were my parents, Dr. Adrian and Scarletta Bell, that they were greeting a future physician when I entered the world in the spring of 1885. They had converted our large, comfortable home into a sanitarium. They assumed that I would ultimately dedicate my life to the health sciences as they had. Is there more to this? Yes. But much to their chagrin, this is really difficult to read text, like at an angle. I'm also looking at my TV from 10 feet away to play this game, so it's not like I have a monitor really close to my face. Otherwise, it would be fun to read. Much to their chagrin, I came to possess an aptitude for healing not people but things. I revel in dismantling objects and from them creating that which is new and better. So strong is my passion for all things mechanical and architectural that rarely do I end one project before beginning the two others. In that vein, my dear future Hippocrates, a reminder, do not forget the projects in the pillars of the house. So he's gonna have all kinds of like architectural style puzzles.
That should do it.
So I got +2 hints. I got 3,450 points. I wonder if that's the maximum or if I lost 50 points for clicking on one wrong thing. If I did lose any points, and there is any way to lose points, and just not earn points by failing to click on something, I imagine you will get so many points to get to the maximum anyways, it won't matter. But I don't really understand this whole detective ranking system.
Cassidy, do you know who Hippocrates Bell is?
I guess it's an attempt to make it more of a game.
Owner of this place.
You would
Of
expect
course, back then,
there would be a
Redondo wasn't
3D
spa,
Nancy
it was
Drew
a private
here.
mansion. I hear he was a bit eccentric.
I see. Well, I finished that list you had for me.
Great job. Our boss awaits through that door.
No,
I guess maybe
forget
Nancy
it.
Drew is
Look,
undercover.
Princess Mia, those are our rates. If you think they're too high, then frankly, maybe you'd be happier slipping into a nice hot mud bath somewhere else. Hello? Thanks for wasting my time, tightwad. Nancy Drew, good. You know why you're here, right?
Of course. You want me to?
Interesting. So we are going to have dialogue choices this time, which look different than what I recall in the first Nancy Drew game. In all fairness, though, it's probably been a year and a half since I last played one of the Nancy Drew games. I've been slow to get back to it. Click on the right answer to keep the conversation going. You'll get more points if you choose correctly on the first try. Okay, so you do lose points, at least in this mechanic, for messing up. General tip. To pause the conversation, click on the menu button in the bottom of the screen. To skip the next line of dialogue, click on the small button that will appear underneath any text you can skip. To pretend I work for a tabloid to investigate the bombings. Take over for your receptionist. This is totally wrong.
Of course. You want me to investigate the bombings.
Shh! Do not use that word. You're here to investigate the construction accidents. Our guests hear construction, they shrug it off. They hear that other word, they get upset. These people are millionaires who come here to get pampered, not upset. The good news is, with that hair of yours, those clothes, that makeup, you'll fit right in.
You really think so?
Yeah. Everybody's gonna assume you're the new gopher. You know, go for this, go for that. The new general assistant.
Oh.
No, that's good. That way no one will suspect you're really a detective who's an expert at defusing bombs.
An odd statement.
I'm not sure who told you that, but...
Of course, that also means you can't go around bothering people. And if somebody asks you to do something, you're gonna have to do it. No questions asked.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Blesky, but I'm afraid I've got some towels that need folding.
Oh, great. Another one. Well, you got here just in time.
Would you like me to...
Go home now, see if the movie stars are around. Go out there and fold towels. Interrogate Mr. Jones.
Would you like me to help fold towels?
Folding towels is a code. It means someone's found a note saying where a bomb's been hidden and turned it into reception. Shoot. Look, I've got to take this call. Go on back out there. Cassidy will explain everything and get you started. Go on. Go. Nick Blesky.
That's a terrible code.
See,
for a
each
hotel.
bomb has been preceded by a note. The very first note said that it contained the location of the bomb that was about to go off. Unfortunately, the rest of that note, and each of the other notes that followed, was in some kind of totally indecipherable code. However, I'm sure you, detective that
There's
you are, will be able
seemingly
to decipher
two or
it, determine
three
where the bomb is, and defuse
poses
it
of
before
the
it goes
3D
off
models
with
of the
no
characters.
problem.
Well, I can sure
Either
try,
that or
but...
they're just
Fortunately, the bombs aren't
flickering
lethal. Truly
the
annoying,
background
yes,
colors.
but truly dangerous? No. Apparently our mad bomber just wants to torment us. Here's a map so you can find your way around the spa.
Okay. It doesn't seem like it's particularly a large area that we're going to be traveling. You have an office reception, you have a garden, you have a... What does that say? In zone? Zen zone. Ivory room, salon, jungle room, and guest suite. Hedge your bets against stress, stroll a soothing garden maze. Which, is it a maze or is it a labyrinth? Because the labyrinth, all paths are designed to go towards the center and theoretically back out, where a maze is designed to have dead ends and not let you get from one point to another point. I would say this probably is more along the lines of a labyrinth, which that's an interesting definition, certainly, that I did not know when I watched like the movie Labyrinth, because even in the name it's spoiling the fact that all paths in that labyrinth would have led to the center anyways.
And here's the note. Decipher it, and you'll be on your way.
Yeah, you would definitely not want to use folding towels as code. What you would want to use is something that would be more unique and not said that much. For instance, if they used a different brand other than like Windex for glass cleaner, and then they said we need you to go buy some Windex, that's a good code because everybody would have that. Every employee would know they don't use Windex. But if an employee says I actually need you to fold some towels, that potentially causes confusion. Or you go check on room, turn down service in room 13 and there is no room 13, or room 100 when there aren't 100 rooms. Something like that would make a lot more sense. Or even more specific, like a steak has been ordered to room 100. So it says this could be a sticky situation, and you can't click on anything in the windowed mode. It would make a lot more sense for this to be full screen. A lot of this feels very much like something that would have been on a, well, Switch these days, but I would think like a Game Boy Advanced type game or a tablet. In this minigame, your goal is to move the pieces so that they form complete letters. Okay, so we are back to minigames. Move pieces into the correct position by swapping them like this. Those can be swapped this way too, or this way diagonally. Okay, here's the top half of a V. Click on it to select it. Where should this be? Moved to form a V. There. Great, you made a letter. Now click on this I. What's funny is I also made another I. So are we trying to find specific letters for vines, which is pretty much all you could spell with these lines, these words? Or are we supposed to get a certain number of eyes? Click here. Great, you're getting the hang of this. Note there are 2 rules for swapping pieces on the board. Rule 1, you can only swap a letter with an adjacent tile, including diagonals. This S piece can be swapped with the 8 highlighted pieces, which none of which would be helpful. Virtual swaps need to result in a completed letter being formed. If not, swaps will be undone. Keeping those rules in mind, click on the S half, but nearby tile should be swapped so that it completes form an S. I guess that one. Okay, you're ready to play on your own. Click more details. For more details, click on the help button at the bottom of the screen. This is really tutorializing you, but in all fairness, this is probably a game for fairly young kids, although by 2021 standards, I don't know if a game like this was on a cell phone and you handed it to even a 6 or 7 year old, would they really have any struggle playing a game like this, or would they even have any interest in playing a game like this? The only limiting factor I can imagine that you would have is just kids that couldn't read at all. And any of these match 3 games that make other matches at the top are set up in such a way that the goal is to start at the bottom and work your way up. Did you notice that when you have your form complete letters, its gauges goes up? When all the letters gauges are full, you beat the level, so it just goes on forever. Okay. I suppose this is the letter N. Okay. Which means you pretty much just keep playing. Have you tried the hint button yet? Press it, will light up one title on the board that can be matched with another. And apparently there's a reshuffle button too. I think that's fairly unnecessary stuff. So we have S-E-N. And then we're just looking for V's and I's. Have you noticed the scramble buttons? Pressing it shuffles all the tiles on the board. You never know when that could come in handy. Okay. Problem with the I's is there's not a lot of them showing up. It feels like 3 of the same thing should probably also count towards something. Or like a 3x3 grid of the same thing should count as something. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up spending a lot of time making combos. And I assume you want to do this in the least number of steps, if that's gonna affect your score, if anything affects your score. Which, that's questionable. Great job, you've now unscribbled the letters to find out where the next bomb is hidden. Click on any 2 letters to swap them. Okay.
Vines. Wonder what that means. Maybe I should look at the resort map.
Yep. Obviously, it's a fairly simplistic game, so no surprise I could figure that out very quickly. This is the kind of game that you would want to have for kids to make it more fun and make them feel smart and build their confidence. So I'm not expecting any real challenge here. This is the map screen. Your current location is also highlighted in blue. Right now you're at reception. To progress to the next location, you need to click on the correct arrow on the map. The bomber's clue mentions vines and tropics. Did it? It didn't say anything about tropics. Try and select the correct area on the first try. Ivory room. Jungle room. Guess you'd go with the jungle room.
Aha! I'll bet that's the place the clue refers to.
And since we haven't seen what's inside the jungle room, that is obviously going to be a guess. And see, that's apparently chapter 2. So we're gonna go through like 3, 4, 5 chapters very quickly, and yeah, I don't expect this game to be particularly long at this rate.
I hear someone. Who's there? Mr. Mingles, is that you? Speak.
There's some weirdness.
No, I'm Nancy, the new...
Let's see. General Assistant, Towel Girl.
What on earth are you talking about?
Oops. I guess I'm General Assistant.
I'm the
And
new
that gave me
general
50
assistant.
points instead of
And
100.
you are...
Just call me Mrs. Montague. Now, quickly, scratch the left side of my nose before I go absolutely insane. Hurry.
There's some weirdness with this game in that you've got the woman in the mud bath. We saw a picture of a woman getting her back rubbed. I guess spas are a lot of opportunities for people to be underclothed compared to normal. Guess we'll just scratch the nose. So let's do it. Oh wow, we do have a scratch button
What
for...
were you? Ah, wonderful. Now get me a cup of lime sherbet, 2 scoops with a sprinkling of citron zest and 1 cinnamon stick. And a spoon, of course. Silver, not plastic. And don't plan on going anywhere for a while. As you can see, you're going to be the one operating the spoon.
Actually, I kind of need to do something else right now.
Do something else? Really? Like what? Get fired like the last alleged assistant Blesky sicked on me? Keep this up and that can easily be arranged.
Lime sherbet, did you say?
On second thought, forget the sherbet. I'm chilled enough as it is. The hot water for this bath doesn't seem to be working. Find out why and fix it, before my gloriously flawless skin becomes a hideous landscape of goosebumps.
Yeah, I suppose Nancy Drew as a adventure game, point-and-click adventure, hidden object game, did succeed better than the Goosebumps games, which there's only maybe 3 or 4 of those, and there's easily 20, 30 Nancy Drew games. Tip, you can reveal the location of the object you need to use by clicking the item indicator. Try it now. Guess I have to. No. You'll earn more hints as you play, so don't be afraid to use them.
This bath has become unacceptably tepid. You simply must turn up the heat.
Alright. Let's go ahead and say no. We are looking for... Press the button. Turn the dial.
Ah, the mud is warm again. Much better.
So you're gonna
Before
get
I got in the tub,
audio
I noticed that a
pump.
plant over there was dying. Please do something about it. The poor thing's struggle to live is draining the energy from this room in a most unpleasant way.
So characters are just gonna talk and tell you what to do, and they'll remind you if you don't do something else. Here we have an empty watering can, and then we just need to find the plant she's referring to in a room full of plants.
Ah, you've revived the plant. I can tell. I can feel the energy returning to the room already. Please, check the latest Tinseltown Tatler and give me the gist of Lydia Lynn's column. That woman is so deliciously catty.
So, is this it? Let's pull the drawer.
Lydia's column suggests that Jasmine Ivy came to the Redondo for a little plastic surgery.
I suspected as much myself. Not that there's anything wrong with a judicious touch-up now and then. Brew me a cup of my special anti-aging tea, and brew it correctly, or you'll soon find yourself filing for unemployment.
Okay, so a lot of talking here and a lot of reading, where I would have liked a little bit more action. Although in all fairness, if you're making a game based on books, you probably are trying to appeal to a crowd that likes to read a little bit more. Let's see. Famous face gets age-related alterations. It seems that a certain so-called serious actor, at least as serious as actress as you can be when your name is a cutesy combination of fragrant flower and weed like vines, has just gotten a little elective pruning done at the insanely exclusive Redondo Center for Rejuvenation. Since this is not our first visit to the center, we are left to wonder, was it Was it a therapeutic nip this time, or a preventative tuck, or both? If only she would put an end to all this dreary speculation by fessing up. After all these days, even luxury cars sport a certain amount of plastic under the hood. But really, plant lady, if the truth is something that simply refuses to roll trippingly off your tongue, please do not try to tell us you're staying at the center for some much needed rest and relaxation. That's what hot tubs are for. So, she wants tea,
Aha! Tea making instructions.
and then guess we have to look at these. So, one thing to read and then another thing to read. It'd be very helpful if you could click on this and just get regular inline text. I'm gonna get a crick in my neck at tilting my head to read all of this. Making tea the Redondo way, there's nothing more relaxing for a guest than imbibing in a steaming cup of wonderful, aromatic, and naturally healthful Redondo tea. Our special blend of dried, hand-crumbled leaves can be found in the refrigerator. Is this bouncing up and down? I think it might be. Leaves must not be exposed to water before they have been encased in a strainer. The strainer must be placed in a suitable teapot. The resulting tea must be poured into a teacup and promptly served. This process guarantees a state of exquisite tranquility to its lucky recipient. These are fairly big words. Like tea strainer. So we need the refrigerator. So pull the refrigerator. Take the tea in the tea strainer. Put the tea strainer in the teapot. Put the teapot in the water. Is that what that is? That's the hot water. And then put the teapot in the cup. And then, yeah, I'm not going to read out a lot of this dialogue. We're just going to commentate and solve these simple puzzles.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay, she's asleep. Time to look for that bomb.
It definitely feels like there should be a lot more voiced lines, particularly of Nancy Drew, to push you along the path. That's kind of funny to have her snore. Find the bomb, scan the room with your cursor, then click when your bomb detector meter fills up. Okay, so we are basically just gonna get closer and closer to it. Okay. So we kind of know it's somewhere. Over here. And see, this must have been originally a PC game, or at least a Nintendo DS game. Otherwise, this system really would not work well with a controller. See, I don't know if I really have to be that specific, because it's staying in the exact same place that you can see how it's popping up and down. Alright, and then I open that, twist that, then I guess maybe pull.
Emergency override panel. This looks promising.
I guess we're just keeping the tea making instructions. This LCD screen gives you access to the bomb's emergency override system. Okay. To deactivate the bomb, you need to build a path that connects the two end pieces circled in red below. This is one solution. Okay. So now let's try to a practice level to learn how to play. You can move pieces in the grid by swapping them. Click on two highlighted pieces to swap them. So it is the same. It is the same system of maybe 4, but probably 3 mini games that we'll end up doing 2 or 3 times. You've completed the tutorial. Now it's time for the real defuse bomb. Good luck. Disarm it before time runs out. Okay, well, we can certainly make a hassle of that, and that, and that, and that. Plenty of time.
There.
And that gave a massive amount.
Looks like some green goo is dripping out of that diffuse bomb. I guess that explains the sticky situation the Mad Bomber's note referred to.
Mr. Mingles, are you there? Mr. Mingles, I insist you drop whatever it is you're doing and answer me.
Interesting.
Speak.
There's nobody here but me, Mrs. Montague.
Well, then don't just stand there. Find Mr. Mingles. Look in the salon. He's hopelessly attracted to the smell of hair.
He likes the smell of hair?
Just make sure he doesn't have any in his mouth before you grab him, or he might swallow it.
Is Mr. Mingles by any chance?
A dog?
Is Mr. Mingles a dog? Of course he's a dog, you ninny. An award-winning, impossibly adorable Pomeranian. Now find him. Go.
So you don't get to do anything with the green goo. Yeah. Now, let's see. At this point, I don't want to do this. I want to click this. I can't pop this up. So let's click
on to
this,
my next location.
Let's go to the salon. Feels like we're going to end up going to each location maybe even 3 or 4 times. Yeah, we have like one more scene and we will be at the next detective rank, and so it kind of feels like we are very quickly going to be through like an act 1, through one more scene, then in act 2, and maybe it'll just be a little bit more difficult to get to Ultimate Private Eye, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we get to Ultimate Private Eye very quickly. Have you noticed that your current goal is always stated here? You can click on it to get more tree details. Go ahead and try. We're, I suppose, still in tutorial mode, and maybe throughout the entire game it's just always going to tutorialize you. I can hear Mr. Mingles barking in here somewhere. It sounds like he's inside the walls. I better figure out how to get him out. And that just boils down to Mr. Mingles. So he's behind this door.
The barking is coming from behind this door. I just need to figure out how to open it. It's probably one of Hippocrates' contraptions.
March 5th, 1925. Modifications complete. The pillar is the key. HB.
Don't you? Yes, the vintage look is very in right now.
So.
Really? That must mean I'm very in right now. You're supposed to laugh. That's a joke.
I don't know which one I'm supposed to click on yet.
I wonder why they don't get rid of the cabinetry in here. It looks so
interesting. You don't
get with it.
seem like you talk to either one of these
are very chic.
characters.
Your lack of couth is showing.
Actually, this place used to be a private mansion, and this area used to be the dining room. The cabinetry looks old because it's what was in here when the Redondo bought the place.
In other words, the Redondo isn't trendy, it's simply cheap. I take back that couth remark, dear.
So am I supposed to just wait for these two to tell me a hint? Like, there's literally nothing else to click on except for this. Okay. March 5th, 2005. Pillar is the key. Let's just click on one, I guess. A rope. Does a rope match a knot? Yes. Okay, I get this. A leaf. A tree. Didn't realize you were going to end up pushing all of them. Alright, so this is easy. I thought there was something more complicated to it than this. Star and a constellation, raindrop and a rain cloud.
I wonder what this tube is.
March 5th, 1925. I was quite nervous that someone might use the dumbwaiter to the dining room without my knowledge, so I've created a security system to access it. Light up the stained glass panels around the ceiling. To do so, the drain will provide a key. The pantry shelf needs exactly 15 ounces. Tug on blue, yellow, purple, orange, and unriddle the pillar. Okay. Drain will provide a key. Let's see. Unriddle the pillar. 1 is red with passion but doesn't bleed. 2 is a sweet boutique. Hide stones within. 3 can be broken but won't shatter. Has a stem but never grows. So red with passion doesn't bleed would be this one, I guess. Sweet boutique that hides stones within would be cherries. Can be broken but won't shatter. Has a stem but never grows. It's red with passion but doesn't bleed. Maybe it's supposed to be this one first, then this one, then this one, then that one. Yep. Tile of some sort. Okay. We're looking for a drain. Some tweezers. What else would the drain be? So apparently I got something out of that. Alright, let's see. This must have to work with this. Nope. No, this works with the chandelier. The drain will provide a key. Pantry shelf needs to be exactly 15 ounces. Turn on blue, purple, blue, yellow, purple, orange. This on that one. Blue, yellow, purple.
I don't think this is the right order.
Because that's blue, yellow, orange, purple. Really? No, it was blue, yellow, purple, orange. Blue, yellow, Purple. Orange. There we go. This is lighting up all kinds of circuitry. Tile of some sort probably goes with that. Nope. Lock isn't jammed anymore. I bet I can open the door. See, mice would not care for this dusty fare. Is sometimes blue tasty too? That's an easier puzzle. And now we have a tile of some sort again. So there's 3 riddles here. Has keys but opens no locks. Has teeth but cannot chew. Can run but has no legs. So it's this one, and this one. Some sort of tile. That matches that. Mosaic is missing some piece. Let's see if that one and that one matches. Nope. Does that one and that one match? Yes. So what are we missing so far? Still just looking for a key. The drain provides a key. See a drain here. See a drain there. See a drain there. I would have sworn that there would have been a puzzle around these instead of simplistic riddles. And it probably isn't really worth your effort to take a long time. I think it probably is just better to move forward and use a hint. Like if I somehow finish this game, oh, there's something, and don't get the perfect ending, it's probably not a big loss.
You know, maybe those colored lights are coming on by accident. Maybe there's a short circuit somewhere.
Maybe that dreadful little dog is chewing on the wiring.
More likely its dreadful owner is chewing on the wiring.
Good one. High five, dear.
Weird. It says there's no more things to find. So. Unless I'm supposed to go find a key somewhere else. Let's see. Pull. Oh, you literally just pull. That's all you had to do. Okay. There's something in the drain I need to pick up to cover, so lift, cover, and then we got a key that goes here. And what's else?
This looks like the shelf Hippocrates' bell mentioned in his note. I bet I could use these bottles, even though some of them aren't completely full.
Okay, so we need to be able to read all of this and tell how full something is. 7.5 ounces. Is that going to be out completely? Because this is like full. See, this should be 8 ounces. So we should just need 7 more ounces. This is probably 4.5 ounces. Right. 8, this much and this much and that much is probably double what you need, because that's probably 8 ounces plus another 8 ounces. So you're probably not playing with those. See, a quarter of 3 ounces. Probably not. This is 1 ounce. I suppose one thing you could test is just to see if there is enough room for everything. Nine ounces would be 4.5. So 5 ounces. Can we get 3 ounces anywhere? I don't think so. Because this would be, I think, probably 1 ounce plus another 1 ounce. Plus those 2. Yeah. We may find ourselves in a scenario where this is the wrong one. This would be 8 ounces. Well, I just stumbled on the solution there. Okay. It definitely feels like we probably are only going to end up doing puzzles like this once, and we'll probably run into a slightly different version of that puzzle one time. Let's see. So if we flip, which is now our option instead of scratch. Interesting. When does this change? And then you have a very different animation style.
You naughty, naughty
which
boy.
honestly, this should have just this should have been the animation style for the whole game.
That's so good, Mr. Mingles.
It's fine. Like, clearly these games are made cheaply. They probably wasted a bunch of money making 3D models.
I'm a firm believer that if you want something done right, 9 times out of 10 you must do it
Plus,
yourself.
I would definitely have full voice acting instead of just partial, like partial voice acting. I'd much prefer every single line of dialogue to be mentioned.
That green mess that came out of the shower head. I hope you didn't throw it away.
Me pick something up with my hand and deposit it in a garbage receptacle? As it happened, Helfton popped in for a brief eyebrow consultation, and when I showed him the goo, he scraped it up and took it with him to his lab.
A lab?
Helfton? Oh, you mean the...
So at this point, you can't get any hints as far as what you know by clicking on the book. So you pretty much just have to guess.
You mean Helfton the biochemist?
Yes, Helfton Helgeson, the person who creates all the beauty products used and sold here at the Redondo. I've been using his Rejuvenator series for years. As you can see, the man is a genius.
Can you tell me where his lab is?
In the basement. His name's on the door. Brava for you, by the way.
What do you mean?
I'm assuming you want to know where his lab is so you can drop by for a consultation on your... everything. But when you do, pack a lunch, dear. You could be a while.
It's funny that they're kind of making fun of Nancy Drew's appearance. And maybe in the story that is a recurring thing, is that she's kind of tomboyish or just not particularly attractive. It's weird, but not crazy to characterize a character that way. So we made it to amateur detective and we're halfway through rookie investigator. So now we have a new area drawn, which pretty much indicates to me that there will be another area over here. Maybe an area over here, maybe an area over here, probably an area over here. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some areas over here and over here. Maybe even a balloon or something.
On to my next location. Mr. Helgeson?
Yes, yes, what is it? Oh my, you are here. After all these years of waiting and
what I'm
hoping
wondering
and begging, you are finally
about
here.
those, why didn't they use some of the
Just so we're
previous
on the
characters
same
from
page,
the previous
my name's
game?
Nancy Drew.
I do not care if your name is Hilde von Potterschnacht. All that is important is that at last Blesky sends me an assistant.
How do you know I'm not a new guest?
Please, no jokes. There is no time. I am very busy, and there is much to be done. Here, I need you to make these solutions according to these instructions.
Can I ask you something first?
You can ask me something second. First, you must make the solutions. Go, go.
Yeah, I don't know if I particularly get the idea of having a game that just gives you busy work, but honestly, I've seen worse. I've definitely seen worse games that don't bother to give you anything to do and are just there kind of like a visual novel trying to tell you a story, which you easily could have just cheaped out and had a fully voice acted visual novel based on Nancy Drew and not put any gameplay mechanics at all. That wouldn't appeal particularly well to the Western audience that I imagine Nancy Drew is targeted to, but I don't feel like this is quite as good. Of course, you always run into that problem, whether it's a Sherlock Holmes game or if there were Hardy Boys games. Any kind of mystery game tends not to translate well into a video game scenario, because in video games you have this whole open world, a lot of interactivity, the ability to do anything you want to do in a small sense, whereas mystery stories are 100% about limiting your input and your knowledge and controlling the narrative. It's probably one of the best examples of the difference between a book and a video game story. Your goal is to form 3 molecules. See how each molecule contains several smaller parts. These parts represented on the board by red rings. Notice that each ring has several colors in it. This is what you need to do to successfully form molecules. Rotate the colored pieces on the board so that each ring contains only one color. To rotate the colored pieces, just click on them and they will rotate. Now try clicking on this piece and rotating. You can also right click and it will rotate the other way. Good. Now let's get to work. The ring here has 2 green sections. If you could add one more green section, the ring would contain only one color. Click on the piece to rotate that into the green section. I have to do that twice. And it's a match 3 thing. Excellent, you've now completed part of the molecule. Notice that each part, that the part you have completed has turned that color in the diagram to show you it's done. 2 parts to go. Now see if you can fill the ring with the pinkish purple color. Rotate these 3 pieces until the colors are arranged correctly. Right on. 2 down, 1 more to go. The last ring is tricky. This ring contains 2 purple sections, but the piece on the left doesn't have any purple. But the piece above has purple. Just need to figure out how to drop this one down one spot is how we can do it. Turn the 3 highlighted pieces so that the light blue colors match. When they do, those pieces will be removed and the new ones above will drop down. Right.
That should do it.
Super job, you've completed the entire molecule. Now that you've got that one checked off, try making the next 2 molecules on your own. Good luck. Did you know you can rotate the pieces on the board clockwise or counterclockwise? Try using the right mouse buttons. Still getting a lot of tutorialization here. A lot of tutorialization. So, is there any problem whatsoever with doing 2 greens? I don't think so. Is there a benefit of having them a specific color?
That should do it.
I think so. It didn't give me any indication that that was the way things would go. Let's see, can we match? Things. This is weird how it rotates in that you aren't really given full rotations or 1/3 rotations. And it might be a bit of a struggle. Oops. Oops. It might be quite the struggle to actually get all of this lined up the way you want it to line up. It's not a very good sound effect as far as the spinning sound.
All right.
You have done a very
We've
good
got
job.
too many
I am
match 3
grateful.
games
So, ask me a
going
question.
on. Very
I
boring
assume it concerns
and
your
slow.
hair. Oh my, or is it your skin?
It concerns the green goo you found in the jungle room. I'm pretty sure it was meant to...
See. Explode?
I'm pretty sure it was meant to explode. Mr. Blesky told me about the, you know, construction accidents.
As a matter of fact, when Mrs. Montague called my attention to it, I suspected it was some kind of explosive. So I carefully removed it and brought it here so I could analyze it. However, I found it to be useless. That is to say, amateurish. An attempt to create a gel bomb that failed miserably.
It was never in any danger of exploding?
Never. And now I must get back to work.
Assistant Drew, towels need to be folded in reception. I repeat, Assistant Drew, you are to go to reception and fold towels immediately.
Sounds like we must both get back to work, yeah?
So we're not doing anything
Got
more
another
in the
note for
lab.
ya.
Wow. So it seems to me like we're going to be going in circles doing the same thing. And if we've done 5 chapters now, and there are 32 chapters, in total. We are at 1/6 of the way done with the game. And clearly we won't always have videos to see. And like, there's no video here. There's only one piece of evidence. I suspect this is possibly one of the bad guys. There may be 2 or 3. I bet they're trying to blow up the place or irritate people to leave so that they stop disturbing a specific plant. Apparently in chapter 4 there was that cutscene, and so yeah, actually trying to look at all the cutscenes is not going to really be worth your effort. This will never change as far as the hint, and if we're 1/6 of the way through the game, then that puts us definitely in line with being 1/5 of the way through the levels. We have a massive amount of score, which, if I recall correctly, this is exactly how the game kind of worked in the previous Nancy Drew game, where you very quickly and easily got very high scores. Is there a way to guarantee saving? No, not really. You can save and exit, otherwise I just have to assume the game itself is just automatically saving. So that's going to be it for this recording. I'm not sure how long we've gone, but we've probably gone long enough. We'll probably want to power through this. This is not the kind of game that you want to take your time or go slow with, because there's just not going to be any collectibles really, or extra things, no side quests or anything like that. It'll just be do all of the game and do it fairly quickly, and then you'll be done with the story. Once you played the story, in most adventure hidden object style games, there's almost never any reason to go back and play it again. Although I will say, if I were to right now go back and play the previous Nancy Drew game, I wouldn't be able to remember much of it. So if I did do that, I could probably enjoy it as much as I did the first time, which was mediocre at best. I'm not seeing anything amazing for its time and for this game, but I am seeing some improvements from the previous one. It feels like this is slightly better. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.